Next, we're going to talk about a topic which is called legacy transformation. And most people, if you do this at a cocktail party, they probably fall asleep. I actually find it very exciting that the non-sexy is becoming sexy, you know, because it's very hard to transform anything really when you're stuck and tied with chains and hoods by your legs, your arms, and your head to legacy systems. And we all have systems that often are older than we are. And this is a really tough place. And bankers, you know, as much as we complain about it, but bankers and insurers don't like it themselves. And last week in Copenhagen, we spoke with the new head of API at BBVA. And he said, he was quite funny, he said, you know, you want to play APIs to App Store, you know, you want to play custom experience, not with that core, mate. And that sort of set the scene about legacy transformation. So we're going to talk about that. But before we do, let me show you something. Here's my cue for my friends over there. Take a look at this. You probably recognize it.
At my local bank, I'm permitted to take all the money out of the safe and roll around naked in it.
Right, I've done that for you. I will just say, because the fund's in your account, you do actually qualify for the Advantage Executive Premier Gold account.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. You get your own personal banker, that'd be me.
Right.
Who looks after you, that'd be you.
Yeah.
There's an overdraft limit of £10,000, and you get free travel insurance.
Oh, thank you, that sounds great. Do I need to fill in a form?
No, I'll change over your details right now, I won't take them out. Computer says no.
You probably know them. It's Little Britain, and you know, I mean, they're quite famous in this stuff, and they have equal examples of hospitals and whatever. So if you're tied in a legacy environment, you want to show people what it's like, you know, go online and find them. But much to more serious business, Bernd and Suzanne. So what do you do when your core is older than yourself, and you know, the last man standing has gone fishing? I mean, what can Asysco do to help you?
Well, actually, you could just retire with them. Wouldn't
That's
that be,
an option.
you know, find a nice tropic island and to retire? No, that's just a joke. But that is really an issue. The skills are vanishing. COBOL people are retiring. So in order to be able to embrace the new technologies, you also need a new skill set. And we've seen that with our customer Aviva. That was one of the driving factors behind their transformation journey. Wasn't that right, Bernd?
Yes, correct. Well, echoing this, let's have maybe a closer look and also what we just saw on the video. The analogy that we're talking about is a system that is outdated, cumbersome, old, difficult to deal with, hardly any time documented. And that's what we define as legacy, actually. Yeah. And of course, there's a lot of risk attached to it. So typically what you have is at the, let's say, 3 levels, expiring software, expiring hardware, and on top of it, and that's the illustration here, expiring skill sets. And that all together creates a kind of ticking time bomb.
Yeah, but then, you know, we all know the terrible stories about 80% or so of the massive overhaul transformation products and core fail in the industry, so we're trying to shy away a little bit from that. And then you see people sort of put wrappers around it, or, I mean, what is your process? Is it putting lipstick on the pig, or is it something more fundamental?
Well, that's quite an interesting analogy. Well, linking back to legacy in the first place, we call ourselves legacy transformers, and that's for a good reason, because we don't hate legacy, we don't destroy legacy, we keep it because we think it's a good thing to have. So the investments that have gone into legacy systems, the IP that is with it, all the effort and, let's say, the best-in-class process that is covered by these evolved legacy systems is a good thing to have. So Transformation comes in when you say all the disadvantages linked to that platform, which is what we described, running out of skill, running out of support, expiring environments, then be transformed to the new platform, and suddenly you can get all the benefits in terms of what this conference is all about: agility, digitalization, connectivity, etc. Now, back to the lipstick on the pig.
We like lipstick, by the way, and
Yes.
we like pigs.
Yes, and
Combination.
that's exactly the thing. But there is certain ways of using lipstick attached to a pig that doesn't make sense. For example, in the legacy environments, there's this data lipstick, yeah, that's all around these weird middlewares and transformation interfaces that make access to these systems so cumbersome. Because people want to deal with data outside these systems. They want to do big data and they want to do their predictive analysis. They can't do it with the mainframe. There's this lipstick around all the skill sets. There's multiple ways of getting rid of it. One lipstick is outsourcing. So you push away the problem from your site so you don't see it anymore, but the pig stays.
And on the other hand, the question really is, do you want to keep on investing in that legacy? Because every euro you invest in that legacy is a euro lost on innovation. You can't put it into new technologies, but you're pouring it into old technologies. We've seen a case at HBOS where they did the transformation and immediately saved 18 million. 18 million, immediately.
Just in no longer running the systems in-house, no longer running all the licenses.
Maintenance, operational costs, that kind of stuff.
But because of your technology treatment, the systems would still perform their base duty.
Yep.
Okay, so here's a question. Now, I will promise immediately that I've spoken to more bankers and insurers, but they do have the same tendencies. It's very hard for them to get them to part with their infrastructure, and particularly if it's core, because they think if it sits in a box and it's under my desk, it's secure, it's safe, it's mine. It's the same with data. It's not their data, but never mind. If it sits in-house, then it's safe, it's secure, I feel responsible. They find it very hard to part with it and sort of go the sourcing way. How do you overcome those, probably just sentiments?
Well, I mentioned the outsourcing case, so suddenly people have different opinions and they're happy to outsource and give it away. So there's kind of a little bit of a contradiction. Sometimes we call it the Stockholm syndrome, so people fall in love with their legacy and embrace it. It's, of course, linked to jobs, it's linked to habits, traditions, and everything around it. Let's not forget these systems come from these monolithic processes from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and typically the people attached to them, be it the operators, the COBOL programmers, they all still use this technology as their daily living. So, on the other hand, we overcome it by a simple argument. We're all into the Facebook, Google, Amazon, and Apple worlds, which are completely web-enabled, which are cloud service software providers. So we have no doubt in our private lives to happily use all these systems, whereas suddenly in a business context, there seems to be some doubt about it. We see one of our kind of delivery streams is straight into the cloud. So one of our logos says actually mainframe to the cloud. And what does that mean? There are some things that you can't do without the cloud today. If you look at big data, petabytes of data, they can only be properly analyzed in networks and in cloud computing environments. Another example, I met with the CIO in Belgium the other day, and they were complaining about their MIPS cost on the mainframe going through the roof because of web clicks coming in from their channel management systems. So, do you want your web clicks on a mainframe? Doesn't make sense. So you need a cloud computing environment.
Okay. So take me through this, because I think I'm getting the zest of it, but take me through it in sort of, say, 5 steps. Somebody phones you up and says, I've got to keep this legacy, I can't get rid of it now, but I still want to build a modern, sort of more of an open environment. What are the 5 steps that an insurer needs to go through to get to the stage where he has put his mainframes in, say, a container park?
Right. Well, step number one with us is typically a kind of due diligence step, information gathering, data collection, and that on one hand leads to underpinning the business case itself, so it's all about calculating ROIs and TCOs, but also allows us to make a proper judgment for the project itself. Our projects are fixed time, fixed price, typical ranging from 6 to 12 months in its delivery cycle, and all these data are captured together in something that we call an evaluation or a site survey step. Next step is the conversion itself. We run all of the legacy components, and I mean all of them, that is code, data, operating instructions, workflow, security, batch scheduling, everything comes through our conversion engine. This is automated. This is very important. If you only achieve 50, 80, 90% of automation, you have all the rest of the code and data to deal with on a manual basis. And you end up with a redesign or a rewrite project. That's out of control and will run out of budget. Next step, we have a service component, a methodology. Our projects are mainly around testing, so we have developed a testing methodology around it. Then you go live on a weekend, and then you have a service component and a warranty period for the migrated system.
Okay, just finally, one for you. Does this also mean that this way insurers can get away from the eternal vendor lock-in, where sort of the license fee stays the same, but the actual relevant usage goes down?
Absolutely, yes, that's completely removed by this, and they're free, you know, under the hood. Also, all the COBOL is transformed to native.net, so you're free to go wherever you want.
Yeah.
So that's a big difference. And also what I want to stress is that Asysco has been around for over 35 years. We came from the mainframe world. We understand their business. So we're not ridiculing it or saying it's bad. We're helping them transform it. We've done over 70 projects successfully worldwide. We never failed a single project. So, I mean, I could say we're a trusted partner to go on this journey.
Perfect. Thank you both very much. You can imagine that it's very hard to demo legacy transformation. We had some wonderful creative idea, but tell you, this was the most hygienic way to do it. So thank you very much, both.